to really hear. Mm-hmm. It's to win, not to really hear. Because you just pointed out that I was yelling.
Yep.
See, Tradika said, please add YouTube. No, they said they just stared each other down and laughed. Because we really got
listen, our situation, even being pastors, is not so unique, unlike other people's relationship. I ain't even just talking about marriage. I'm talking about friendship. I'm talking about family relationship. I'm talking about at work. I'm talking about at church. It's relationships 101.
It's relationships. And people matter to God.
Yeah.
So people should matter to us.
Yes.
And here's the thing. We develop these bad habits. Mm-hmm. Because the other thing is that if we're honest, is that I said this, I have been doing soul shifting work formally for 15 years.
Yep.
And the truth of it is that I think he added.
Yeah, he did.
The truth of it is that you have to train yourself to be able to hear criticism. Braun said, thank you. She said, because Facebook be acting up in the country. So they need you to.
Because of the nature of this particular topic, I shared it to a couple other places.
Okay.
So there we go.
So is this, look at LaCheryl, she being honest. She said, sometimes I just want to give them that reminder of what I didn't point out. Because you over here pointing out that I was yelling, but you've been yelling the past 2 days.
Right.
And I prayed in the Holy Ghost for you, but now here you come. We have to develop capacity to take feedback. And I want you to know that most of the time is that when we get feedback, if we don't do the work, we either shut down or go into defense mode. We either shut down or go up to because in truth, even though in reality we know we're not perfect, it's really hard to hear that we're not. It's really hard to hear that we don't handle things as maturely, that we weren't the one that was always right in the engagement, right? Can y'all understand that? And so if we don't, and that's why we're constantly working on our relationship. How did I say this? How can I say this better? That's why I had to own that that I am quick to accuse instead of asking when a task isn't done. So when he says to me, you're accusing me to put down my weapons, you're not my enemy. Right. Don't try to minimize how he feels. Don't say that because it didn't bother me, it shouldn't bother him, and just use his apology language.
Yep. That's it.
So I wanted to say that. I wanted to tell my own business before you told it. I wanted to tell my own business before I told it, right?
Yep.
So where you want to go from here? Because I think I set us up nicely.
I think you did. So let's
I done got hot, y'all.
Let's just start talking then about the components of a quality apology, right?
Oh, Lord.
Because here's the thing. What we understand is this, is that apologies are simply a way of us taking responsibility for our actions. It doesn't say we're not good. It doesn't say we're weak. It simply says, here's how I take responsibility for my actions. It's acknowledging also the harm that I have caused. And I think what happens is sometimes we don't want to acknowledge that we've harmed the people in our life. We don't want to acknowledge that we have hurt someone whom we love. And so it's easier to just want them to get over it. We just want, we just want I hurt you. I want your hurt to stop. I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry. Let's move on. Let's get over it. But if you neglect the understanding of what is necessary for a true apology, then you end up giving somebody something that honestly they really don't have a lot to do with. And while people may love you, they'll take that so-called apology after a while, but then it gets dull. Then it loses any meaning whatsoever. And so now, even though that person is being sincere, I don't feel it's sincere. And just like that person's perception is reality, so is mine.
Now that's good.
Your perception that you are being sincere is real to you. The perception that is not real to me, I mean, the perception that is not being sincere is real to me. And if I'm the one who's been injured, we say all the time, whoever the hurt person is gets to determine whether that's sincere or not.
Absolutely. It makes me think of when you say that, guys. I want y'all to really sink into this. One of the things that Bishop Corletta Vaughn taught me about 5 years ago that changed my life is that two things can be true at the same time.
Yep.
So it can be true that I was sincere, and it can be true that you don't feel that it was sincere at the same time.
Right. That's right.
And I am telling you, two things can be true at the same time has helped me to say, I didn't mean to hurt you, right? But I acknowledge that I did.
Yeah. And I think what people miss is many times, myself included, I've done it. People feel the need to say what you just said. I didn't mean to hurt you. What you meant to do is really irrelevant. I know that sounds hard.
I agree.
What you meant to do is irrelevant. We're talking about impact, not intent.
Agree.
So in an apology, you have to be careful not to make yourself feel good in the apology by saying, I didn't mean to do that. Because at this point, I don't care what you meant to do. If you run over my foot in a car, you say, oh my God, I didn't mean to do that. It doesn't make my foot not hurt. It doesn't make the pain any less than what it is. And so many people get caught up in an apology by trying to soothe themselves. I know because I've done it. I hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt you. I don't want you to hurt. I don't want to hurt because you're hurting. I need you to move on. Come on. Let's just move on.
No. That's it. I don't want you to hurt. I don't want to hurt because you're hurting.
Right.
So I really did. So I want y'all to hear me. I'm not really interested.
This is a classic man problem. I'm telling you.
I'm not really. I got a little man tendency. So but I don't really care about you not hurting. I care that your hurting is hurting me. Your hurting makes me uncomfortable. Your hurting makes you not want to hug. Your hurting that is the thing that we got to have the conversation about, is that, am I saying this to help you heal, or am I saying this because I want you to shut up and move on?
Yes. So I can stop hurting.
And
how do I know that's true? Because it's in your language.
Yes.
It's in your language. I can tell whether or not you are aggrieved by what you did, or whether you are just being in pain because I'm in pain and you know you caused it.
And I don't like your pain because it makes me feel like a failure.
Yes. And I don't like feeling like a failure.
I don't like feeling like a failure. So I need you to shut up about your pain because I don't really want to get better. I want to not feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Baby, did y'all hear what I said?
That's what Patty Cake said. She said, do you understand that you hurt me, or do you just want me to shut up? And
well,
that's
the truth of it is, I don't really want. The truth of it is that it would be nice if you heal. What I would really like is for you to hurry up and heal, so I can stop feeling bad, feeling like a failure, and feeling like I messed up. I am not really interested. And if we're honest, we'll all tell the truth. In many cases, even in long-term happy marriages, we have not been committed to getting better. We have been committed to getting the person to be quiet.
Yep.
We have been committed to getting them to accept things about our behavior that are less than desirable.
Yep. And here's the thing. That's why we're going to start, before we ever get to the apology languages. I believe it is so critical. If you don't know, that you learn. If you know, that you master. if you master, that you continue to get better. Because if you don't understand these 7 components that consist of a quality apology, you can be sincere in your apology and still have it fall flat on its face.
I believe lots of times in relationships, the problem is that we're just speaking the wrong language.
Yeah.
We just don't have the right components of it, right? Listen.
So let's talk about
I love it.
components.
Obviously, all levels of people need this. That's why we're asking you to
We're
share.
asking
That's
you
why
to
we're
share
saying
in
this
the
is not
chat.
just
It's
about
142
relationships.
people. I know that a lot of people were waiting for last week and it didn't happen. They probably forgot about it. So all we can do now, we done shared it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different places. All we can ask you to do is 143 of you guys share one more time. Tag one more time. Get the people in here because we're about to talk about how to master the art of apologizing. I'm telling you, it will take every relationship you have to the next level.
To another level. Let's go back to number 1.
Yep, let's go back.
You must acknowledge wrongdoing and take responsibility for your actions.
This is like the flour in the cake.
Yes.
You don't have a cake without flour. Am I right about it?
Right.
You don't have. This is the flour in the cake.
You got to start by acknowledging that you were wrong and take responsibility for your actions. This means not making excuses, not shifting blame, not downplaying the harm. So let's talk about this. Not making excuses. I did this because you did that.
Yep.
Shifting blame. It really wasn't my fault. It was somebody else's fault, right? Or that didn't really hurt you that bad.
Yeah.
You ain't really that upset.
Or I didn't mean that. It doesn't matter what you meant. We're talking in an apology. There has to be a dual thing happening in the very first part of an apology. You have to acknowledge your wrongdoing. You have to acknowledge your part. And you don't need to say all that other stuff that makes you feel good about, well, you know my heart. You know I would never, or it wasn't my intent. That's not how you accept responsibility. Responsibility is I acknowledge what I did and what it was that was wrong. Period. And then you take responsibility for your actions. How do I do that? I know what I did was wrong, X, Y, and Z. And here the action that I did, me doing X, Y, and Z, I should not have done it. Not I shouldn't have done it, but I did it because you kept nagging it. When you start to add that kind of stuff, it dilutes that apology.
So I think we should all practice. It's 145 of us. I want us to practice, and we're going to use something that probably most couples have had a conversation about, right?
Come on, this will be good. This will be good.
I apologize for picking up my phone when you were telling me something important. It was wrong.
It was wrong, and I shouldn't have done it.
It was wrong, and I shouldn't have done it.
We're laughing because we're literally working out our apology languages, and because it wasn't complete it wasn't complete for me until you said I shouldn't have done it.
But see, it was complete for me.
For you.
Right. So
right.
I acknowledge. Come on, guys.
And remember, apology language is for the person you're giving the apology to.
Well, I practice for you because you're the person most likely to pick up your phone when I'm trying to tell you.
Absolutely.
Right. So I was modeling for you
for what you want me to say.
What I want you to say.
So what I would say is, hey, I apologize for picking up my phone while you were talking. I should not have done that, and for that, I apologize. But now for you, I would also have to say, and the next time when you are talking to me, I will not pick up my phone.
Absolutely.
Because we'll get into that about why you need that other part.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
But number one, no matter what it is,
I didn't see y'all put it in the comments. Did y'all turn and say it to your spouse?
You got to
the
acknowledge the wrongdoing.
Because I'm trying to get you to understand. It's not enough to take the notes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to practice. Oh, Cynthia, I'm going to push back. I apologize for picking up your phone when you were telling me something important. It doesn't have to be important to you.
Right.
It doesn't have to be important, right? Because another person. No, but I'm saying we got to get, I apologize for turning my back or walking off when you were talking to me. Now, Edwin is saying, Patrice, at the end of that, you should say, I am wrong. Terrence, yes.
But again, it depends on the person. And that's why later on, if you'll hang with us, we're going to show you how different people have different apology languages. Her apology may be perfect for someone else. For me, it's missing something. It's missing one little component that for me makes the difference, right? But for JR, that may be what he needs. But people, they have to find that out. They have to find that out.
Agree. But if we're going to acknowledge wrongdoing, so when Kristen says, I apologize for losing my temper, she's not acknowledging that losing her temper is wrong.
Yep. She is
acknowledging. She's not acknowledging. Babe, let me tell y'all something. When we had this little retreat, y'all better make y'all way on up in here, right? Real talk.
Yep.
No. I love Sharika. This is it. I apologize for eating your leftovers knowing you wanted them. I was wrong.
Thank you. That is an apology.
That is an apology.
That would work for me because you've acknowledged what you did. You acknowledged that they weren't yours and that I wanted them, but you told me you were wrong. And when someone tells me they're wrong, and you're going to see this later, that is the thing that drives it home for me. And sadly, we've laughed about this before. Even if you're lying to me, even if you're going to do it again, if you tell me that you're wrong and you acknowledge it, it helps me to accept the apology. So, number one, you got to acknowledge wrongdoing.
Number two,
and take responsibility for your actions.
Number two, Dean said real love when the ate them leftovers.
Fred, you're wrong for that.
Real love, right? Number two is expressing remorse.
Yes.
Show that you understand the impact of your actions. Listen, I think me and Patty Cakes is sisters. She just said
more than just sorority sisters, right?
Yeah, I think we related. She said I play dumb a lot of times, acting like I don't know what I did. I don't pull that one a couple of times. Listen,
okay, all right.
Up in here, people. Again,
you're right.
I tell my stories.
Right.
I tell my stories, but you don't tell yours. Terrence said, I apologize for cooking meat in your vegan skillet.
Oh my God.
I know that wasn't right.
Ooh,
see, some of y'all are breaking the curse of divorce and broken relationships
right now. Tonight.
So you got to express remorse. Show that you understand the impact of your actions and that you genuinely feel remorse for the hurt caused. Use words like I'm sorry, I apologize, or I regret to express your remorse.
And I know some people don't like the term to say I'm sorry.
I don't like it.
I know you don't like that, but some people it works for. That's why when I did the notes, I put it in there. You may feel better by saying I apologize. Typically, what you say is I apologize. You don't say I'm sorry.
Because I ain't sorry.
And I get because the word sorry means not to be good.
I ain't sorry.
I get it. You're not sorry. You're not sorry. You may apologize.
Yes.
But you're not sorry.
I may have had bad behavior, but I'm not sorry.
You may even regret it sometimes.
Sometimes. Amen. All right.
So you gotta acknowledge your wrongdoing and take responsibility. You gotta express remorse. You need to. And here's the thing: your body will tell off on you too. Your body language, your tone, your mannerism, all of those things will tell off on you whether or not you're truly expressing remorse or not. Are you? And I know we say we can't judge somebody's sincerity, but if you're apologizing to someone, they ought to feel it. And if they're not feeling it, if it's important to you, you ought to find out a way to make them understand that.
I think that's true. Oh, I can't wait till we get into this.
Come on. Number three,
be specific. Clearly articulate what you are apologizing for. This is why every time somebody makes a big mess publicly and they come back and they say things like, if I offended somebody, that's why we all go bull crap, because we know you offended somebody. Right? Clearly articulate what you're apologizing for and be specific about the actions and words that caused harm. This helps the person you are apologizing to understand that you understand the impact of your actions. Did you hear? Understand that you understand the impact of your actions.
And let's be clear. You and I we have both called each other out on this one. Okay, well, fine. I'm sorry. Sorry for what? What are you actually sorry for? I mean, we've asked each other those questions because what you're doing is telling me you're sorry because you want to move on to the next thing. But what are you sorry about?
Child, one time I didn't even know what we were talking about. I didn't know what we were talking about. I just want you to
because
to
when people say they sorry, what are you sorry for? What are you apologizing for? What do you regret? You regret that I'm talking to you. That's what it is sometimes.
No,
not
wait.
you.
No, it's true
general.
though. And it is. And let me tell you something. It's you got to make
That's
sure.
right, Bill. You know what you did. Say it.
Maybe I don't.
Right.
But some of it is that you got to resist the urge not to be a jerk. Because I would say, you would say, what are you sorry for? I'd be like, even existing, breathing,
right,
being alive.
But see, then that shows the disingenuousness.
No, I was being a jerk.
Right.
No, I was being.
So, I'm saying, even if you were sincere about your apology, if you don't complete that apology and you become a jerk in the midst of that apology, then your sincerity is now disingenuous.
Look, Patty Cakes done said that. So listen, let me tell you something. Listen.
We're going to put you in Patty Cakes in the Starting Over house.
Baby, them people going to put us out their house. And so be specific.
Yes.
What are you apologizing for?
Yeah.
Jasmine said, I'm sorry for everything, past, present, and future. Right. And
I told y'all this was going to be good tonight.
This is going to be good, guys. And we got to learn how to do this because all of those things we do, there are defense mechanisms.
They really are.
They're defense mechanisms. And we have to be able to hear ourselves and go, now I'm operating in a defense No, JR. He said she don't like to be wrong.
Now, JR, let's talk about you. No.
Don't
be talking about your wife.
I'm telling you the truth. I don't like to be wrong.
You don't.
Because in my mind, I have put I'm sorry, it's me. Whatever I did, whatever you think I did, I'm sorry, it's me. But the truth of it is, I don't like to be wrong.
Right.
And so anybody else don't like to be wrong. And so if you don't like to be wrong, which we're going to get to something else later on about why I apologize quickly, even though we have a different perspective on this, right?
All right.
Okay, so then number 4, offer restitution.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation, consider offering things to make things right or take steps to repair the damage. This can include to offer to replace something that was damaged or offer to do something that will make up your actions. I can give you a very clear one on this, okay? On social media, what people like to do is bust people out publicly and apologize privately. So to me, restitution is the same format, the same energy you use to go off. So for me, if we was on your post or if we was in one of the groups and I get to going back and forth with somebody and they go off on me, right? Tomorrow morning, don't get up in my inbox talking about I apologize for what I did. No, baby, you go right on back to that public post that you tagged me in because you wanted me to see.
Right.
Restitution is about making things right. Listen,
these folks is talking about they just want. Hey, listen, it can be restitution if that's what if that's how you restore and repair. But I was thinking about how people forget people's birthdays or anniversaries or something like that. And sometimes people really are trying to make it up and say, hey, you know what? I'll tell on myself.
What?
For a long time, you've been asking me to take you somewhere. What's the place you've been asking me to take you?
I don't even want to go no more.
I know, but that ain't the point. The point is for a long time, you asked me to take you to where? Mount Magazine.
Everybody in the tribe know it. I've been asked you to take me to Mount Magazine so long, I don't even want to go no more.
And so when I said, hey, I didn't realize that you were serious, that you really wanted to go up on a mountain.
See, I minimized it.
No, I'm not minimizing.
I
said, I did not know you wanted to go up on a mountain and stay in a cabin on the weekend. I thought you were joking. And so
all 375 times I said
375 and the 76th time until the Lord said, no, that girl for real. So once I realized you were for real, I tried to make restitution. But you did not want me to make restitution.
I did not. Take me to Vegas. I don't want to go no mountain.
And so restitution was to take you to Mount Magazine. But if you said, nope, take me to Vegas, then that becomes the restitution. I'm saying that to say that sometimes people won't even let people make restitution. Not you. I'm saying in general, we can be so upset that when people try to do this part of these 7 components, people won't let them sometimes. And so if that's the case, then you may not always be able to make restitution.
Okay, so I think that maybe I think that maybe this is going to be a great deliverance for me. He can't take me to the mountain. I don't want to go to the mountain. I really probably think that I got some growth to do on this, because this reminds me of something that don't have nothing to do with you. When I was in college, I was with my boyfriend and I didn't have my wallet with me, and I asked him to buy me something to eat. He jokingly said no and bought me the food, and I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even want your funky food.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have
It's
to
an
work
internal.
on.
It's an internal thing.
Listen, you still ain't. Oh, you ain't. You got to tell me about yourself. No, so
I just told a story about myself.
No, because I'm like, so I literally have to be aware of the fact that I won't let. I sometimes won't
You're saying, no,
let.
don't even worry about it.
No, don't
See,
even worry
y'all
about it.
can't be
No,
that way.
Don't even worry about
You
it.
have to know.
No,
You
I
have
don't
to
want
know
your
that
little
restitution is part of a way
I'll
to make it
starve to death before I eat this food. Jesus will come back before I
Lord
eat this
have
food.
mercy.
And so what I know is that I have to work on accepting restitution.
Nietzsche said, heal, beloved. Not just to you, but you have to
Keep
heal.
praying, girl.
You have to heal.
Keep praying.
So number 4, you have to offer restitution. If it's possible and the person is willing to accept it, you have to be willing to make the restitution. In the restitution, you don't get to decide what the restitution is. The one who's been wrong gets to decide the restitution, which was my point. I couldn't be like, no, we going to Mount Magazine because you said you wanted to go and I'm taking you up this mountain. It was like, hey, I apologize. I misunderstood. I was wrong. Can you please forgive me? I would love to make it up to you. What can I do? What can I do to offer restitution?
I think that this is a good point, that because Cedric said it do be funky after you say it no, though. I think one of the things in relationships, which is why this is an art, right?
Yeah.
Is knowing when to offer restitution.
Sure.
It is knowing when, because you have to know the person that you are with.
KYP.
You got to know your personnel, because if you attempt to do it too quick for some people, like some people can say if you apologize too quick, right? But some people is that if you offer me something too quick, then it feels like it's not.
It feels disingenuous.
It feels disingenuous, right?
Yes.
Okay, number 5, make a commitment to change.
Yeah, now this is big for a lot of people.
Make a commitment
because
to change.
if it's saying you're sorry and not changing, it's just giving you more opportunity later on to do the same thing.
I know. I really feel like I should have been in the audience of this class, but I do have a question. I do have a question.
Can I explain what making a commitment to change is? Don't lose your question.
Don't you worry.
All right. When we talk about making a commitment to change, here's what we're talking about. You got to show that you are committed to changing your behavior. Okay, you got to show that there's a commitment to not repeating the same mistake again. You cannot hurt someone, apologize, ask them to trust you and to give you another chance, and then you don't change. Because if you don't change, you will make the same mistake again, because everywhere you go, there you are. So it's important that you make a commitment to really change. This can include learning how to set boundaries, or how to make a plan to prevent similar actions from happening again. Now, the fact of the matter is, and it's going to get a little serious for a second, you and I counsel a lot of couples, and sometimes we have to counsel couples through infidelity. Infidelity is not the end of a relationship. Doesn't have to be. It can be, it may be, but it doesn't have to be. And we've worked with people through situations where they came back from something like that and were actually stronger afterwards because they learned some things to do to prevent that. But you can't be a man who done cheated on your wife and you talking about you gonna change, but then you still hanging out with the same friends you was hanging out with when you cheated.
That's true.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
You have to be willing to make a change. And it can't be like, oh, she's trying to control me. No, you need to set up boundaries in your life so that you don't make the same mistake. And I'm not talking about just men. I'm talking about women. I'm not just talking about marriage. I'm talking about any relationship where you harm somebody. If they're saying, I'm willing to give you another chance, and they're saying, but you've got to make some changes, and your rebuttal is you trying to control me, then you're not serious about making a commitment to change.
I agree
Or
with
would you
that
agree?
100%.
Okay, then don't forget, what's your question? Come
Oh,
on.
baby, I'm not gonna forget my
Okay,
question.
all right.
Because earlier Janet made this comment that I really struggle with. And
What was the comment?
her comment that she said that it's called manipulation when you don't change and keep apologizing. And I actually struggle with that.
Mm.
And the reason that I struggle with that is because sometimes I am sorry that someone, and I'm not gonna say you, but listen to what I'm saying real careful, and then I'm gonna give you an example.
Okay.
I am sorry that you are injured. I am not sorry about what I did.
Yeah, I guess the question is, why would you? I'm not trying to be funny, but and we told you this is going to be raw. But I guess my question would be, why do I care that you are injured if I don't care that what I did? If what I did I meant to do, then whatever you are feeling about it, that's just on you.
Okay, so let me give you an example.
Okay.
Okay. Now I already know you would not have handled it the same way that I did.
Okay. Let's go.
One time I was traveling back from a preaching event, right?
Okay.
A lady saw me in the airport.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see that lady.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The lady sent me a voice memo weeping about how she saw me, I saw her, and ignored her.
Okay.
I was sorry that she was so devastated.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not committed to changing anything about that because I'm not walking through the airport with my head on a swivel to make sure that I don't miss somebody. So I was sincerely sorry that she was in so much pain, but I did not have any intent on changing.
See, I see that a tad bit
I done
different.
got hot.
I see that a tad bit different than what Janet was saying. What I was hearing her say was, if I keep telling you I'm sorry for blowing up at you, and I say I'm sorry, and then I blow up at you, and I say I'm sorry, and then I blow up at you, and I say I'm sorry, that feels manipulative, because in reality, I'm just saying I'm sorry so that we can be back on good terms, but then I'm not committed to change. There was nothing for you to change.
Well, but what I'm saying is that that's why it bothers me as a blanket statement.
Yeah, okay.
It bothers me as a blanket statement because if the same thing happened in the airport again, she could be like, Pastor Sean still ain't changed. She still didn't speak to me. She still looked through me.
Yeah, because on that, I don't know that you're right. I wouldn't have had
I don't think you would have apologized.
I would have simply said, hey, I didn't see you.
Baby, the way she was crying, I think you'd apologize too.
I can almost guarantee you I would not.
Baby, she was boo-hooing. And I just thought, Lord have...
How long have you known me?
Okay, you probably would.
I would not have apologized.
If
I am walking through the airport and I don't speak to you and I recognize you, some of y'all don't look like your Facebook pictures anyway. But if I'm walking through the airport and I don't recognize you and I don't speak, and you send me a voicemail and say, hey, you didn't speak to me, I ain't see you. If I saw you, I'd have spoke to you. Don't talk to me about not seeing you.
I feel like you need to bring it down.
So to me, what Janet says is different. I think what she's articulating is, if you keep it's like the abuser, and I'm not saying it's like the abuser who beats his wife and goes, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll never hit you again.
I agree.
And then she says, okay, I forget, I love you, and then she burned the cornbread and you pop in the eye.
Don't do that. You ain't got to hit.
No, I'm just simply saying that is a form of manipulation. That's different to me.
I agree, but I'm still saying, and I think some of this is the difference in where we are.
Yeah,
is that I can apologize.
Sure.
Because someone is injured.
Yeah.
Even if it was not my intent to injure them. Because at the beginning we say, which is also why I struggle with blanket statements like impact versus intent. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, she was like, I was so looking forward to meeting you. You changed my life. Well, like, no, I'm saying to you, I was apologetic that she was that hurt. But I was not committed to changing anything. And that's why I think it's caveats in this discussion.
But you know what? I think that's great for you. I think I love your heart and how you were even willing to apologize. Because what I would have simply said is, hey, I didn't see you. I don't apologize. I just didn't see you. And because I didn't see you, I didn't speak. The same way I didn't speak to Michael Jordan in the airport because I didn't see him.
No, but I'm saying to you that some of it is, no, Janet, I understand. You just let us go into where I was going to ask this question anyway, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you though is that because Crystal says you can't trigger what's not there. She had rejection issues and wanted to blame you, but in truth, we apologize all the time for triggers that other people have.
Well, people apologize all the time for other people's triggers. I'm just being honest. I'm responsible for my trigger. If I get triggered, no one owes me an apology because they did something not toward me and I got triggered because of it. I got to deal with my own trigger. But if someone is willing to apologize, that's great. I get it. I understand. That makes sense.
I don't know. But I'm saying
both perspectives are good. There you go.
I wasn't responsible for her trigger, but for me, I didn't want her to be
bad
that she was in so much pain
because
and it was like
didn't get to speak to Pastor Sean.
And I'm telling you,
in the airport,
Edwin, stop minimizing.
I'm not.
Your whole lesson is about not minimizing people's pain. I'm saying to you that for me, Keidron is saying what I'm trying to say here. I apologize because an apology costs me nothing. That's why I can apologize.
Except it sets you up that if you're in the airport next time and you don't see her again, she's like, you said you apologized and you did it again. So I get it. Nothing wrong with apologizing. Apologizing is great. We're talking about the mastering the art of it. Yeah. So let's learn how to do it.
Look, the guys, I got a couple guys. Nate said, so that's what I was doing. I apologize that you're hurt. I am not apologizing that I hurt you, right, but I apologize that you are hurt, right?
I would say, I wouldn't apologize. I would say, wow, I hate that you felt that way. But that's just different. We just different.
No.
We just different.
No, and then I did say to her, I said, if you ever see me again, please come up and say something. But I think Shavondra just said something.
And tackle you in the airport.
And I think you so petty. But I think that Shavondra just said something which is where we're fundamentally different. My apologies in some situations are my expression of empathy for your trigger.
Okay, I can live with that.
Okay,
I can live with that. That's good, Shavondra. I can live with that. My apologies in some situations are expressing empathy for your trigger.
I am empathetic that you are triggered.
Okay,
but I'm not changing because there's nothing for me to do to change.
Right.
Which is why, and that's the scenario that always comes up, and I'm glad we got to talk about that, right? My apology. How many of you have ever apologized, not because you thought you were wrong, but because you were empathetic to the pain somebody else was in?
Yes, I understand.
Now, you probably have never done that.
I've done it once or twice, or at least thought about it.
Okay, all right.
So number 5, you got to make a commitment to change if there's something to change.
All right, I'll take it. And then number 6,
you got to ask for forgiveness.
You have to ask for forgiveness.
Now, asking for forgiveness, it's not big on our list, right? This is one of those things that it's the nutmeg, maybe it needs to be there, maybe it doesn't. You need to figure out the person you're apologizing to. But requesting forgiveness from the person you've hurt, what it does is it shows that you respect their feelings and you genuinely are seeking their forgiveness. Most people, when they say, hey, I apologize, I'm sorry, it's an implied, will you forgive me? Some people need to hear the words, will you forgive me? And if that's true, and you know the person you're dealing with, they need to hear that. There's nothing wrong with asking that question, will you please forgive me?
I love that.
Yeah. And then number 7, the thing we say about apologizing is that you always need to have a follow-up. After delivering your apology, you need to make sure to follow up with that person, to check in and show that you care about their well-being.
Yes.
It can't just be, all right, I said I'm sorry, and now you never mention it again.
And I did follow up and ask her if she was okay.
And you did.
I did.
You did.
But Clarissa she says, I'm empathetic, but that's why I apologize, but you're sympathetic. You like, man, I'm sad you're sorry, but I ain't got nothing to do with it.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I'm not even because my understanding is to be empathetic is to put myself in your shoes. I cannot put myself in someone's shoes that someone didn't speak to me in the airport. Now, I'm not minimizing anybody else's thing. I'm not trying to, but I can't be empathetic to that. So what I have to be is sympathetic. I'm sorry you're crying because you didn't get to speak to Pastor Sean.
let's just move on because but I do think that maybe when we can have KYP,
know your personnel.
I do think we can come back and have a conversation about this, that maybe we could add this because we have a lot more topics to cover, right? Because a lot of people said they have apologized for out of empathy, right? And maybe we need to talk about if that's a healthy thing to do. That maybe that's not something we need to do. Maybe we need other wording.
And we can come back and talk about it. I think when you apologize, and I hear what Siobhan just said, and I can get with it. I think when you apologize because of empathy, it sends a message to someone that they have been wronged. And you didn't wrong that lady in the airport. She just got triggered based on some other insecurities and things she had. But when you apologize, it almost validated, in my opinion, my little bitty opinion, it validated that she had been wrong. I don't like people feeling like they've been wrong when they haven't. So I don't apologize. I say things like, wow, I'm sorry you felt that way. Okay?
That's not an apology?
I'm not apologizing for not speaking to you. I didn't see you. Or I hate that you felt that way. Or dang, that's bad. That's messed up that you cried. But I don't necessarily do this.
You can't tell somebody that one time.
Absolutely, I did. And people say it shows, and I get what you're saying, First Lady. It shows that you cared for her. It does. But what is the message that it sends? That's why people struggle. And I'm being honest, and I'm not trying to be arrogant. That's why people struggle in their emotions, unlike I don't struggle. Because you do these things based on empathy, and I'm trying to show I care and all these other things, but you set other people up for failure because you let them think that somehow they were wrong when they weren't. I would have said to her, ma'am, you weren't wrong. I didn't see you. We had a misunderstanding. If you can't understand that, then there's something deeper there that needs to be worked out. But hey, who are me? Who are me to judge?
I feel like I'm getting something for this because I think that I have probably done that a lot of times.
You do it way.
I think that a lot of times.
a lot. Why are you apologizing?
I think I need to work on that because I do think that when someone feels bad, to Keidron's point, it's like, wow, you feel super bad, right?
So then you say, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
But when you're sorry, it's because you wronged someone.
I need deliverance.
It's okay. We work.
No, Jasmine said she need deliverance too, and Kim said too.
It's okay.
It's like
y'all keep coming to FOC. I'll help you.
No, listen. No.
Right. Nisha, I hate that you're hurt. I don't apologize. I hate that you're hurt. I don't like that you're hurt. I wasn't involved in it though.
Oh, so Nate has a good question. How can I say that? Because that's a struggle for me. How can I deliver that message and still seem empathetic?
How do you deliver which message?
Because I think for those of us who have been really taught to be empathetic or developed empathetic, I do think listening to you that it sounds that I can.
So now, should I have to push back on this? You say you can use the word sorry without having done the wrong, not by the definition, not according to the definition. To be sorry means you have wronged. You've wronged someone. Now you can feel bad that they feel in a certain way, but if you are sorry, if you have regret, if you apologize, you are acknowledging that you've done something wrong. And that's the reason I'm telling you, so many people, it's the reason that so many people set other people up in their life to make it feel like, oh, they wronged me. And you have all these people running around feeling like somebody's wronged them. Ain't nobody wronged them. For the most part, no one's wronged them.
We need.
we can come back and do a whole section.
No, because
but
I do think this.
The comments are coming quick. We're trying to read them.
Coming quick.
We're trying to read them.
But I do think I can see right now where there are times where people feel like, based on this, they feel like I wronged them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I apologize because I'm being empathetic,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I really don't want to seem like a jerk, and because I don't think an appointment, I don't think an apology costs that much. So it's like, but I think a lot of people might not know this about me. That globally, if you really need something that don't cost me that much, I'll go and give it to you, and you won't necessarily get. I'm like, baby, listen, I do think you're right. Patty Cake said we were taught to say we were sorry. So I do think some of this is a woman issue, because I know for a fact that women are taught to say they're sorry, and it's one of the reasons.
Maybe we should say it's a feminine issue rather than just a woman issue.
Okay, a feminine issue. So I think even something like this, and you're going to feel like this is a little diversion, but it's really not. I think that when boys are growing up, if you have a ball and you are playing ball, nobody teaches you to give your ball away. But when you are a girl, if somebody wants to play with your favorite doll, the expectation is that you do it. And if you don't do it, you are mean. So I think that there are probably a lot of women who have learned.
No, Nate, I'm not calling you feminine. And everybody, man and female, has feminine traits. Don't get stuck on that, Nate.
No, but I'm saying that I think that women, we are taught to apologize even for things we didn't do. No, it's share that doll. How dare you not let her play with your doll, even though it's 17 other dolls over here? And I think it's something that women are taught. So as I'm listening, I'm thinking, I apologize because to me, if I didn't apologize, I wasn't being nice.
Yeah, I think it's been ingrained in our culture that we
are
say
taught to
sorry
make people
for
feel
so
better.
many things that we feel like because someone feels bad, it's my job to make them feel better. I don't particularly ascribe to that, so it's difficult for me sometimes to understand the context when people talk in that way, especially when I see the results in their life and how they keep getting blamed for things, and then they wonder why everybody blames them, or especially women. I hear women say, "Well, I got to be there for everybody." Well, you keep showing up saying you're sorry every time, and so for me, that's just a different. It's a different context.
Oh, I love what Nate said. I'm taking that. So I just want you to know, if you get this in your messenger, because you send me a message, I got that from Nate. I'm sorry that you're hurt, but I'm not responsible for that. Oh, I
have no problem with that.
I can take that right there.
I have no problem with that.
I can take that.
The only thing I would change is I would say I hate that you're hurt.
I hate that you're hurt. I'm not responsible for it though. Ooh,
and I'm not responsible because I didn't see you. I didn't see you in the airport. I mean, so whatever you want to do, hashtag Nate Logic. That's pretty good Nate Logic right there.
No, I apologize that you are hurt, but I don't take responsibility for that. I feel like that just freed me. I'm glad we did this. Now you can go wherever you want to go after that. Who just got something from that right there?
And see,
I'm gonna stop over apologizing.
Well, and here's the thing. I love the fact, because what we're doing right now is what we were doing if we were at home, going through these notes and talking to each other about it. We're just debating these issues. It's not a right or wrong. You have to do what it is that you feel is correct to do. You have to. You have to be authentic to yourself. Ultimately, you got to hear God, right? If God ever asked me to apologize, I don't care whether I was wrong or not or whatever, I'm going to do it.
Amen.
But I don't make it a habit of just going around saying I apologize because I'm feeling empathetic with someone. I can feel empathetic for you and knowing I had nothing to do with your injury.
Oh, Nick said he was taught to give his bouncy ball but play with the flat ball.
Mm-mm.
I just think people who were taught that are probably either end up being really selfish people or being people who over apologize, right?
Yep.
That's good. Listen, child.
So listen, let's do this because we need to finish up.
Y'all always want to finish up.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, we don't have to. We don't have to.
Okay.
We don't have to. No, we don't have to run. But I mean, you guys are hanging in there. We can finish it. We can finish it. But here's the thing: we wanted to talk about, because it's great that you know the components, but if you don't understand the other piece of it, you leave here half-hearted. We want to talk about the fact that there are these things, just like we talked about the 5 love languages before. There's a thing called the 5 apology languages, right? And these 5 apology languages are important. Dr. Gary Chapman and his colleague, Dr. Jennifer Thomas, they co-authored a book. It's called When Sorry Isn't Enough: when sorry isn't enough, how to make things right with those that you love. And this is important. And if you have to jump off, you jump off, you come back, you listen to the replay. But it's important that you get this because you need to know, okay, here are these components, but now how do I translate this to the people I'm in relationship with, right? And so the authors explain that that these apology languages appear differently in different people. And they have to do with how people value the I'm sorry, the I apologize, I'm regretful. And they develop this framework that people can use so that you are giving people a meaningful apology in the way in which they can receive it. And it works the same way as the 5 love languages. If my top love language is acts of service, right? And yours happens to be quality time. Well, you can't give me quality time because that's what you like and say, well, I'm showing you love. No, you have to give me the love in the language that I take it in, which happens to be acts of service. So when we talk about this, you need to know, yes, what is your apology language? But that don't mean you run around giving everybody an apology in the language you like. That's just not how it works. And so then based on that, the book gives us 5 apologies, okay? 5 apology languages. Number 1 is this idea of expressing regret, okay? Number 2 is about accepting responsibility. Number 3 is about making restitution. Number 4 is about genuinely repenting. And then number 5 is actually requesting forgiveness. Now, Pastor Sean and I realized today when we retook the quiz again, they've changed up some of the language, but they're in essence still these 5 things, right? And so let's just spend just a minute and just talk about each one of these, and so they can help recognize themselves. And then what we would encourage you to do
is to take the quiz.
Take the quiz, right? And the people you're in relationship with, especially close relationship, have them to take it, and they can share what their results with you.
We have our kids take it.
We had your kids take it. We shared ours on the way over here. It was like, oh, look, here's mine. And they're pretty much still the same a little bit. Things change over time as you work out issues. Things that used to be important aren't so important anymore.
Right.
Okay. So let's talk about that.
You're right. Okay. Number 1, expressing regret.
Yep.
This language involves using words to express remorse, empathy, and empathy for the hurt caused. An example of expressing regret when apologized should be, I am truly sorry for what I did. I know I hurt you and I feel terrible about it.
Because the person is expressing regret. And people who need that in their apology language, they need to hear the language, I'm sorry. I know I'm sorry for what I did, right? I know that I hurt you. That acknowledgement that my actions did something negative to you, okay? That is important. And I feel terrible about it. Now, it can be a mixture of languages, right? I can tell you that for me, when I take the test, expressing regret is like my number 2. Just like the 5 love languages are ranked, expressing regret is my number 2, okay? The second one that we're going to talk about is my number 1. It is accepting responsibility. This language involves taking ownership of your actions and acknowledging the harm that you caused. An example of accepting responsibility while apologizing sounds something like this. I realize that my actions were wrong. I take full responsibility for the hurt that I caused. Telling me that if you harm me, those are the words I need to hear. I need you to acknowledge that you screwed up. I need to hear you say that. I blew it. I messed up. I was wrong. I take full responsibility. I don't want to hear you trying to shuck this off on somebody else. I don't want you to talk to me about how you had a bad day, your cat died, your fish wouldn't swim. I don't want to hear nothing about that. All I want to hear is that you take full responsibility for the hurt that you caused and that you feel bad about it. So number 2 and number 1 is a combo for me. So if you want to apologize to me and really have me to receive it, that's how you do it, number 2 and number 1.
Number 3 is making restitution. This language involves involves taking concrete actions to make amends for the harm caused. An example of making restitution while apologizing could be, I would like to make it up to you by doing specific action to show you how truly sorry I am, right? That I don't really need a bunch of restitution. So some people may need restitution, right? But if people I love need restitution, then I try to give them restitution, right?
Yep.
Number 4, and I just realized that's the one they changed the name on.
Yeah.
Okay. Genuinely repenting. This language involves an expressing a sincere desire to change your behavior and not repeat the same mistake again. An example of genuinely repenting while apologizing could be, I understand that my actions were hurtful and harmful. I am committed to changing my behavior so it doesn't happen again. Even my kids know. Number 4, I don't want you to be sorry. I want you to be better. I probably said that a million times to my kids growing up. I don't care about your tears. I don't care. All I want to know is how we aren't going to end up here again. And to me, an apology that doesn't say that isn't an apology to me.
Yeah, one of the things I've learned about you is that when you receive an apology well, it is because a person acknowledges that they are genuinely repenting, meaning you have some feeling and demonstration that the behavior that they have done won't occur again. But it's not just enough for you to know that it won't occur again. You need an actionable plan stated from them.
I do. I need a plan.
And so it's like, okay, you're sorry you did this. You're godly sorry. Great. What's your plan for now not doing this again? Which is different from me. I don't need a plan. I just need you to own your wrong. And so what was happening is I was expecting you to own your wrong. And you wouldn't own your wrong. You just kept talking to me about what you were going to do to not do it again. And that did not go well with me. And conversely, I kept saying to you, I take full responsibility.
Like, I don't care
I was wrong. I'm sorry that I hurt you. You like, I don't care about that part. What's your plan to not do it again? But because we were ignorant of each other's apology language, we showed up naturally trying to give what we would want. Mm-hmm. And so that's the whole point of this. It's not about you giving somebody what you want. It's genuinely finding out how they receive an apology.
Everybody take the quiz. Take the quiz because it will help you, and then send it to the people that you love and tell them to send you their results.
And you may be a 4 and a 1, or you may be a 3 and a 2, or a 2 and a 3, or a 2 and a 4, or a 1 and a 5. But you won't know until you take the quiz and share it with those that you love, because once you do that, if you really are serious about apologizing and you start to apologize in their language, they'll start to take it so much better.
They will. Number 5 is requesting forgiveness. Neither one of us care about this one right here.
5 is just not a big one for us.
It
was the last one on both of our lists.
The language involves explicitly asking for forgiveness from the person that you have hurt. An example of requesting forgiveness while apologizing could be that I understand I hurt you deeply and I humbly ask your forgiveness.
Yeah.
So those are the things. But if you take the quiz, and it's important to understand that, as Pastor Edwin said, when you work through issues, you may be really high on something that you feel neglected in.
Yeah.
That once you don't feel neglected in, it goes down on the list, right? So for me, it's the link is in the comments. You can actually go out and type in your browser, though, the 5 love language quiz, and it's going to come up.
By Dr. Chapman.
By Dr. Chapman, right?
Yeah, you can find it.
And so I think it's really important to say, this is how you relate to me. Now teach me how to relate to you.
Like I think one of the things you shared with me, you said, we were talking about the 5 love languages, and your 5 love languages have changed over the years. Mine have shifted, but acts of service has always kind of been my top one. But yours has shifted. Gifts, receiving gifts used to be like your number 2 or number 1. But now as we've gotten older, now as literally you can buy whatever you want and you don't have the need for gifts not that you don't want gifts. It's just not. It's like number 4 on your list now, right?
Number 5.
It was number 5.
It was number 5.
So number 5 on
It
your
was just
list. So,
like
so we don't take these tests one time and then never revisit them again. Because if you're growing and becoming, they should be changing just as you're changing.
we typically take the apology test and we took it early, which is why we found out that some things had changed. We typically take the apology test and the love language test going into our anniversary.
Sometime around
right?
August.
It's going into our anniversary so we can share with each other that something has changed. Because a lot of times the reason relationships are falling apart is that you have shifted, but your partner doesn't know that you have shifted.
Yes.
And so if you don't communicate that, and the reality of it is that there should be something different about us at 51 than at 22, right? And so we have to take the responsibility to learn these things, right?
Yeah.
And then say, babe, this is really what I need you to do for me. And then respect each other enough to practice it. And not just, I think that this is a good thing if you work on a team.
And Cedric, I think you're right. He says, I think it's interesting that the language that the other person needs will be the hardest to give because that's the one that's neglected. And oftentimes, what we know about individuals is that opposites attract, right? I like about you what I don't have in me. I mean, most people don't marry somebody just like them. And the truth of the matter is that lets you know, because if you do, you really can't stand yourself because you end up, bumping heads. So you marry somebody or you get in relationships with people who compliment you. And so because you get in relationships with people who compliment you, sometimes it's hard to give them what they need because it's so opposite of what you are. But you know what? When you love someone, you take the time to give them what they need.
To my point, I don't just want to love you. I want to love you well.
Yeah.
I want to love you well.
Yeah, that's it.
There was something else.
Nope, that's it.
But it was the 7 things.
We did the 7 and the 5.
Oh, we did. I just got such a big breakthrough earlier, right?
We covered it all. So using the 5 love languages, using all of those in one apology, it may be necessary, but it may be overkill. Find out from your person.
I think there are things you need to know. Like for me, one of the things that I cannot stand is for people to cry while they apologize. But I think I just had a revelation of why. Because then that triggers my empathy. And then I end up comforting you.
When they harmed you.
Yes. And so I realized that one of the reasons it irritates me that if somebody's coming to me to apologize and they're crying is because for me, it feels like a hustle. It's like you started crying. And then now I got to focus on your tears instead of the fact that you're the person who messed up.
If y'all hang with me, I'll set you free. If y'all hang with me, I will set you free. I just need y'all to hang with me. I need y'all to let go of all that stuff you've been taught. But if you hang with me, I will set you free. Because you're crying, I now have empathy for you. Now the focus has left how you're supposed to be apologizing to me, and I'm comforting you when you wrong me. Make it make sense.
This is my life. I have done that so many times.
Make it make sense. Hang with your boy, Pastor Strick, and I will set you free.
I will tell you that for me, the biggest takeaway, I typically ask people what their biggest takeaway is. My biggest takeaway is that I over apologize and I am committing to stop it.
Okay, we're about done, but you done hung in here this long. Give us a takeaway. Whatever your takeaway was tonight, it can be small. It can be just flood the comment section with them. We probably won't be able to see them all when they go real fast, but we go back and reread these. This helps to inform us on what we're going to teach next. So give us a takeaway. We'll take a break for a second and let you type, but give us some takeaways of what you got out of this tonight. Because I'm telling you this, I knew as we started talking through and preparing for this, I didn't know which direction it was going to go, but I knew it was going to be good. It's over 160 of y'all were here. We ought to at least have 160 shares. At least 160 shares. Let's push this out to everybody we can. Somebody said communication is key. Yep.
Ask instead of accuse.
Ask instead of accuse. Yeah.
No, Monica said, I apologize when I'm showing empathy. I'm going to work on that. Sean and my wife are way too much alike. That's why I've been your girl forever, JR. I am not responsible for your triggers.
Mm.
Empathy versus sympathy.
I'm not responsible for your hurt.
My takeaway was apologizing and not being responsible for the hurt.
I'm not responsible for your hurt if I'm not responsible for the hurt. Now that's important to know. We can't get into this thing where we just start saying, oh, I ain't responsible for your hurt. If you're responsible for the hurt, you're responsible for the hurt. In the example we were using tonight about the lady in the airport, you simply didn't see her. You didn't snub her. You didn't see her. And so you weren't responsible for that. But I don't want us to leave here thinking, yeah, I'm just going to tell people I ain't responsible for their hurt. No, if you're responsible, you're responsible. But people are responsible for managing their own triggers. You know, if I triggered you, I apologize for triggering you, but I'm not responsible for your triggers.
That's really good. Santrisa said this early on, guys. The next one is May 2nd, but you know what we need you to do? We need you to go sign up for the email list. We got an email list now, right?
Oh, whoa.
What?
I put it in here.
Ralph had it up.
Oh, did he have it up there? Okay, there you go. Okay.
Go and join the email list and get your friends on the email list.
I didn't forget to do that this time.
But Santrisa said something that I thought was really good.
And they can visit us at relationship101.life.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
We're just doing stuff I don't even know about. Praise the Lord.
You can go there and you can sign up for the next, you can sign up to be notified about the May 2nd date and everything.
So I think the thing that I realize,
people are responsible for managing their own triggers. They are.
I love what Katie said. I guess I always thought an apology is an apology and never thought about how it's delivered and accepted and how to change it so it's genuine as well as received. Right. Why would we apologize for triggering them if they're responsible for their own triggers? That's Terrence's question. You want to answer that?
So I don't necessarily apologize just for the trigger. If here's the thing, if I didn't intend to harm you, I can say I didn't intend to harm you. Is that an apology or an acknowledgement that I didn't intend to do something that happened to you? Okay. So I don't call it an apology. If I say, you know, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Well, I don't say it that way. I go, hey, my intent was not to trigger you. If you got triggered, you've got to deal with whatever that is because that wasn't my intent. If I intended to trigger you because I knew to push your buttons, then I would apologize for it if I'm supposed to. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things.
I think we could get another class out of this, but Santrisa made this point earlier. That I think is really good, and we can read Melanie's comment, is that she said it's one of the reasons that even in a grocery store, she had to learn not to apologize for needing to get an item. And I pay attention to this in the store. I notice that when men need an item from where I'm standing, they rarely say, I'm sorry.
They say, excuse me.
They say, excuse me.
I don't say I'm sorry. But I say, excuse me.
But in fact, I've taken to saying to women when they say they're sorry to me, you don't have to apologize for taking
if we're coming down the aisle, we turn to each other, I go, oops, excuse me. I don't say I'm sorry. I'm not sorry because I was on a path and you were on a path. Excuse me because our paths it got into each other.
I say excuse me, but I hear a lot of women say, I'm sorry.
I hear a lot of people say I'm sorry all the time. And I always think, man, they apologizing for everything.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I just want to work on it because I can see now sitting here.
You are really over there. I can tell your brain is really over there.
Baby, when this thing go off,
I know.
You go work me through for another 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be a late night.
Because I realize that there have been times when accepting responsibility for something I didn't do made a person think I was indebted to them in a way that I was not indebted to them.
Promise.
And then what ends up happening, oh my God, is then I end up needing to get away from the person because you always want me to apologize for what I'm not responsible for.
Because you set the precedent by apologizing.
Baby, I'm done with that. Now, I don't really know all the rules. Somebody better write me some steps or something. But baby, I don't know all of that. Yeah. Cedric said, I've apologized to my wife a plethora of times for hitting her triggers.
No, ma'am, First Lady. She said, say sorry, Edward. No. I'll say, excuse me. I'm not saying I'm sorry. Sorry for what? Because we were both going down the same path?
No, yeah. I don't know. I think this is really important because And I'll also say this. I think that for me as a believer,
Mhm.
I did not have this problem when I wasn't living as a believer. Because whatever you felt, work through it however you work through it.
Mm.
And then when I was trying to be a believer and I was trying to be nice,
Trying to be a believer.
trying to be a believer, right? Trying to be nice. What I think ended up happening is that I began to do what I thought I should do, not really what the Holy Spirit was telling me to do or what was required. And that's the aha that's coming for me now.
Mhm.
I think that I think we need a part two, and maybe I need to just be, maybe you just need to ask me
You
some questions.
my partner.
No,
we,
listen.
We glean off each other.
And I think there are other people who really feeling this, right? Like, oh, I love it. When Danielle said when people are apologizing to my mom crying, she said you weren't crying when you did it. Oh, Danielle, I like your mama, right?
And see, people see that and they go, oh, well, that's so mean. But the reality of it is, maybe you really are sorry and maybe you really are crying. And I don't blame the person for crying. But people then go, oh my God, you're so hard because I don't cry. And I know this is going to sound bad, but my theory is always your tears don't move me. You're crying. You've injured me. You're saying you're sorry to me and you're crying. What your mind is telling you is I should be comforting you, but I can't comfort you because I'm not through being injured yet. You complete your apology. You dry your tears, come and have a conversation as a follow-up, then we can comfort one another. But people see that as being hard because people have gotten lulled into this idea that if someone is crying and they're in pain, I should push my pain to the side. I should share the dog and I should take care of them. No, you injured me. You take care of me. Then I can take care of you.
You know what? You know how I know I need work on this?
Because you feel so in your chest.
I felt sad right when you said that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, but
I know.
so sad.
I know.
Okay, babe. Everybody thinks we need a part two.
Okay.
One, I think people like me need a chance to practice.
Well, you got 30 days.
We need to practice
whatever many days
come
you
back
got.
because I'm like, child, who the rest of my life go be the best for my life? The rest of my life go be the best of my life. In fact,
we gotta let these people go.
Let me tell you what I think Pastor Edwin should do. I think Pastor Edwin he should sell services to receive people's apologies so that we don't get manipulated. And I'll be like, I'm gonna send my apology.
Listen, I told you how many times I said there's two things I would love to create a business to do: be the person who receives apology from people, and be the person who let people go from their job. Those two things would not be difficult to do.
Well, listen, guys, I thank y'all for hanging out. I hope you'll share. I hope you will take a picture. And most importantly, I want you to get on this email list.
Come on, get on that email list.
On this email
there it is right there. You can type it in your other tab or whatever you got to do. And we ain't gonna bombard you with a bunch of stuff, but we may send you these notes though.
We might help you not. We'll help you not forget the next class. Listen, if this Tahisha Tucker says she signed up. Who else signed up? Put in the comments that you signed up. Lori signed up. Yep. We appreciate
it's real quick. You just push a button.
My apology rep said that an apology isn't due at this time. Be blessed. No, this is what I'm talking about right here.
Terrence is hilarious.
No, but really, if this blessed you, could you please share this? Could you invite somebody to
Relationships
101? No, I was reading Deborah's comments. She said, because I don't give apologies right or often. I'm going to ask if I can dial in my friends, Pastor Strick, to give my apology. No, people, thank you for all of you who signed up. We love you guys so much. Remember, we're normalizing healthy relationships, and this is one
across
the way. So
the board.
Come back next month, and I'm gonna give y'all an update.
So what are we talking about next month?
Next month, we want the part 2 of this.
Is there a part 2?
There is a part 2. What do we still need to know?
What is the part? Yeah, y'all gotta tell us what you want to know, because I thought
you gotta tell him, because I'm just here as a student.
Somebody gotta put in the comments. Somebody gotta let me know, because I thought this was the part.
No, it's a part 2 for sure. Nitra, what's the part 2?
Somebody gotta tell me what a part 2 is.
We're gonna be done in just like a few minutes. Can you help me figure out? There is a part 2. I do think part of it is knowing how to to say, no, I won't take responsibility for that.
Okay. All right.
I won't take responsibility for that. I didn't do that to you.
Okay.
Or like when, you know, or somebody, Patrice said, how to accept apologies when you're still upset or hurt. There we go. So these are two things.
Nate talking about Ed talking, do the deep digging. we might visit it.
I really think that I think that there is really, really more to this. Christopher said Taryn said some scenarios. Here's a scenario. How could I Tahisha, how to differentiate when I should and shouldn't take responsibility, releasing responsibilities for how others receive the apology.
Okay.
Monica said, I struggle with a person crying because they expect me to be over it and I'm not. A lot of people want to know how to accept an apology.
How to accept one?
Yes. Etoy says, I acknowledge the apology, but don't always necessarily accept it at the time. So I heard what you said.
Well, yeah. So I won't get into that, but part of that is you have to practice. People have to practice forgiveness. If you don't practice forgiveness, then somebody can have all 7 of the components, but because you're being led by your emotions, because you can forgive and you don't have to. You don't have to feel the right way to forgive. Forgiveness is a choice. Forgiveness is a choice. And so when people say, well, how do I accept the apology? Accept it.
I want y'all, this is what I want we go all do. Everybody go pray for Pastor Elwin. Because Danielle said, I feel an apology series. Me too. Keidra says sometimes he talks himself out of needing an apology.
What does that look like? I wonder. Oh! I see. He's saying, "Oh, that's okay. I don't need it."
It's not that big a deal. I should get over it. It doesn't really matter.
And I can see that. The only problem with that is what it does to a person internally when they do that over and over from different people. Because she
said, "I squash it down."
It's right until it bubbles over. Until it causes lupus.
And then sometimes the person
until it causes sickness
ain't even the person
who did it.
Right.
Now you're yelling at your kids, your spouse, you're angry at God, but he ain't the one who did it. Redirect that anger to where it's supposed to be. When I say anger, I don't mean anger. I mean require the person who wronged you to have to go through the process of the apology. Don't let them off the hook.
Ooh, child, guys, listen.
If you know me, if you wrong me, I'm not letting you off the hook. I'll laugh with you, I'll love on you, but if you wrong me, I'm gonna tell you that you wrong me, and I'm gonna wait till you get it right. And for me, I've already told you how to get it right. Take full responsibility and acknowledge that you were wrong.
Yeah. We can stop now because listen.
Because we're about to go home. I already know. I need to stop by Sonic before we go home.
Let me tell you, I think baby, you know what we need?
I need me a big old cup of ice.
See, this one should have took me to the mountain because we need a fireside chat for me to walk you through the 13 times I can think about where I created a bigger mess by apologizing for what I should have never apologized for.
I'm telling you, I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. I see women do this all the time.
I told you it was women.
I see them apologize and say they're sorry when they themselves have been injured. And I think to myself, that ain't noble. That's not heroic. You were injured. You should have the right to have someone to say, I am sorry that I injured you, rather than me having to hold your hand because you hurt me. And it makes sense when you say it out loud. Does it not?
It does. I don't even have to talk no more.
Listen, y'all need listen. They adding people.
No, they add more people.
There's more people coming in. Y'all supposed to be leaving.
Yeah, I promise. Matter of fact, I don't even want to talk now. I do want to just go to sleep now at this point.
All right, just go to sleep. We'll talk tomorrow.
I want to take a shower and go to sleep. But if I go to sleep, I'm probably gonna wake you up at 7. I'm just like, listen, dude, I need to walk through this. Listen. Can y'all see why if we get better at this, we can have better relationships?
She said she gonna stop apologizing. She said her husband said good.
No. Good. So, all right. We appreciate y'all so much.
No, sir. You talking about come back in 15? No, sir.
No, I'm saying
15 days.
I'm saying that this is kind of stuff you talk about at the retreat, and this kind of stuff that after we done had a session, we come back and at night we eat us some desserts and some hot chocolate, and we walk through this stuff.
Well, this ain't no retreat. So we're gonna let these people get on off here so they can go to work in the morning. And we thank you for being here. Praise God. Join the email list. Go to relationships101.life. Scroll to the bottom and hit that button and join us.
Patrice said, I'm going to practice it this weekend on the hill because I'm sure I'm going to do something. And then, but Misha said, we need a retreat so we can completely immerse ourselves.
Ooh. Where y'all going to do that?
We done stretched you out.
Where y'all going to do that at?
We're going to do it with you. All right, we gone. Say good night. We love y'all.
Good night.
Good night.
Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.